Come where they fuck us for the rest of our lives. Well, I told you all once, well, I told you all twice that this is the start of our demise. 1, 2.
Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Big stream today. Got a special guest. A lot of you that are in the Discord or active on Twitter. If you know Egris, he's been on stream before. Last time he came on stream, he shared some really useful information with us. So give him a nice warm welcome. He's currently grabbing a coffee while I do the intro, and then he'll get on. I'll let him share his screen, and he'll take the stage from there. So wanted to address a couple things. I recently hit 10,000 followers on Twitter. That was a personal goal of mine going into the new year. Currently, I'm almost at 12,000, so I can't thank you guys enough for all the support and appreciation you've shown me over the last couple months. You know, I never really took Twitter seriously until I started posting my TA and really trying to take a step forward and being honest in this sea of lives that we're in. You know, I was in your position once too. I listened to the Moonboys, I listened to the hype, I bought into all that bullshit, and it ended up costing me a lot. Since then, I've learned to just trust myself and be myself and trade by myself, and you know, that's why I created my Discord. That's why I created this live stream. That's why I created my Twitter, just to give people the right things they need to hear, the right information they need to learn if they want to learn how to trade, etc., etc. A couple other things real quick. Chat, I see chat's popping. This is great. A lot of new faces. Happy to have you guys here. Oh, my brother's in chat. What's up, dude? How's it going? A lot of familiar faces too. Alec, what's up, man? Haven't seen you in a little while. Give him a like. Yeah, man, if you guys would like the stream, I'd really appreciate it. Meow, meow. Meow, meow. Meow. All right, a couple other things before we get started here. So real quick, if you guys are new, I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of new people in the stream. We have a Discord. It is not a paid group. It is completely free. The entire Discord is free. It is specifically to share opinions. If you're a new trader and you want to learn how to trade or learn a specific indicator, it's all there for you. We also have over 20 trading mentors that will answer any questions or teach you anything that you want. All you have to do is go to the Ask a Mentor page. With that said, if you're also new to the live stream and you find the content good, please give me a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. It goes a long way. I started live streaming about 2 to 3 months ago, and the progress so far has been undeniably amazing. So with all that said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to wait for, I'm going to get started while Agris is doing his thing. He's going to message me once he's completely ready, and we're going to go from there. So today I wanted to talk about a couple things real quick before Agris gets on. I had made a tweet. I poked the Moonboys, poked the bear, and it got over 600,000 to a million. Like I'm pretty sure it's close to 1 million impressions. It hasn't even been 24 hours. You know, a lot of people saw it and thought it was great, and a lot of people saw it and were like, "Dude, what are you talking about?" The whole point of the tweet was to point out all of the bullshit that these people are doing. And you know, some people are like, "Oh, you were right this one time and they were all wrong this one time." Like, that's not the case. These people are consistently telling you to buy the top, and that was the point I was trying to prove. You know, I wasn't trying to be like, "Oh, I'm right and you should follow me and my TA is the best." Like, my TA is not the best. I've made plenty of bad calls. My point was, they hype up all this shit. They get all the emotions stirred up. They get all of the new coming traders, the retail traders, all antsy and all emotional, and they FOMO into resistance, and then they get liquidated the next day. And to me personally, that's not fair to you guys, and that's why I had made that tweet. I saw the dump coming. There was literally a double top with bearish price action painted on every hourly and daily time frame. It was so obvious that I think someone with less than a year of TA experience could have seen it, but that's just my own personal opinion. There's one person in particular I'm going to call out. Lady of Crypto, you took some of my tweets and put them in like a graph like I did, and you're like, "Oh, well, you're wrong all the time." Like, okay, I'm sorry your giant forehead saw past completely the point that I was trying to provide, but whatever, I guess. I mean, you can't even tell what volume bars are going up or down. So if you're watching, continue to chill. I know you're running a pump and dump scheme, and once I have enough evidence to provide, I'm coming after you, and you're done for. All right. With that said, let's go over the total charts real quick. So if you're new here, we always go over the total charts. You know, just real quick, I do this every Monday, you know, kind of in more detail, but not much has changed. You know, like I said, we have a breakdown and a retest. Definitely very bearish. Nothing real bullish happening right now. I also see what looks like a head and shoulders forming. This is, again, not a very bullish picture. Could something change? Could we continue to consolidate or bounce around? Absolutely. But you don't just break through resistance, lose it, back test it, fail to break through again, just to break through it a couple weeks later. I really doubt that's happening. We also know that there's a lot of Bitcoin inflowing to exchanges. If you guys follow Inspo Crypto on Twitter, I believe he's also in Discord. He posts a net flow analysis every single day, every single morning if you're from the United States, because I believe he's from Germany, so he posts at night. It's huge. He doesn't post like only bearish or only bullish. He posts non-biased net flow data. From what we understand, there is a ton of Bitcoin going under everyone's noses to exchanges. Could it be for manipulative purposes? Sure, but it's over 100,000 Bitcoin across all exchanges. So I doubt they're moving that much just to manipulate. I'm sure some of it's going to be sold, and that will impact the market. So with that said, total chart. For those of you that are new, the total chart is all of crypto, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins. Not looking very bullish. Total 2 is Ethereum and the altcoins, excluding Bitcoin. Same kind of deal. We have a breakout, a breakdown, and now we're retesting like a prior supply zone or resistance area. Not very bullish. We also have the same kind of divergences here, bearish divergences here. Again, not the most bullish scenario. Total 3 is all the altcoins excluding Ethereum, and then obviously excluding Bitcoin because Bitcoin is not an altcoin. Same scenario. You have a lot of bearish divergence in here, a breakdown, a retest of the supply zone, looking very much like a head and shoulders. I'm fully expecting this to break down, by all means. Wow, lots of people in the chat. This is great. Awesome. Yo, what up, Bart? Terry, what's up, man? Good to be here. It's good to be here, man. I've never been in front of 100 people before. This is great. Yo, what up, Mike? I got my drink here, man. I got my drink right here. It's a whiskey Coke. So I don't know where Egris is. I'm gonna message him real quick. Oh, he's ready to go. Cool. Egris, you can unmute yourself whenever you're ready, man. If you can hear me.
Alrighty, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All good.
So
How is everyone?
Why don't you like introduce yourself? I know some of these people are obviously know who you are, but for those of them that don't, why don't you like introduce yourself, kind of give a little background, et cetera, man. Floor is yours.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm from Twitter. My handle over there is @notagris. I do a bunch of TA and stuff like that on crypto, most of the time on Bitcoin. Yeah, look, so basically I started up my Twitter account earlier this year. Although the account is quite old. I only just started tweeting maybe kind of like in June or something like that, May. The reason why I was tweeting is because I was seeing a lot of the same patterns as 2017, 2018, when people were trying, influencers at the time were trying to get everyone to FOMO in near the top. And I was trying to kind of like warn people of the impending cliff face and the huge drop that I was seeing at the time. So that was the whole point of starting up the Twitter account. Kind of blew up from there. Yeah, like Roman mentioned at the beginning of the stream, like there's a lot of let's call them unsavory characters in this game. There's a lot of people that want to take your money and run. There's a lot of people that are gonna lie to you. There's a lot of people that are gonna, they don't want the best for you, even though they say they do, or they may act like they do. Me and Roman, we tried to kind of like,
yes, this is the
Dracula
guy. I'm sorry
Yeah,
I
that's
interrupt
right.
you. He's the Dracula guy. Oh God, sorry about that.
Yeah. So Roman's been going on a little tirade recently, like pointing out various moon boys and moon girls. I mean, I do it from time to time myself. I try to kind of like stick to the big accounts like Plan B, or as I call them, Plan Scam and stuff like that. But look, honestly, this just mainly shit posting, because you could spend, like I said to Roman yesterday, you could spend the next 10 years, uh, kind of like having little fights and wars with these moon boys, and you're not going to really get anywhere because there's so many of them, right? So at the end of the day, we kind of try to preach, just do a bit of thinking for yourself, start using your head, think about it, what these influencers are trying to get you to do, and basically do the kind of like the opposite, or at least start to think about, why are they getting me to think like this? Why are they getting me to buy at this level? Why do they want me to sell here? Stuff like that, right? So, yeah, look, so that's kind of like the whole point of our accounts, and yeah, just to kind of like get people into TA, and yeah, hopefully help some of you out. All good.
Of course, man. So real quick, I just wanted to touch up a couple things that I kind of mentioned earlier, just specifically with Bitcoin and the DXY, and then I'm just going to let you take the floor and show your chart if you're cool with that.
Yeah,
So,
not a problem.
DXY, I'm sure you're on the same page as me. Agris looking very bullish. This area is definitely consolidation for another move up. I mean, I can't say definitely with the utmost certainty, but this is a double bottom. This is very bullish. Consolidation in an uptrend generally leads to more upside, just like consolidation in a downtrend generally leads to more downside. With that said, Bitcoin really quick. On the weekly, I'm just going to go real quick because I want to give Agris the floor. He's going to cover a lot of things that I normally don't, but just moving average wise, not looking very bullish. The 50 weekly moving average has been a telltale sign of the bull market or bull market support for ever since Bitcoin started. Let me pull out the Bitstamp. Yeah, Bitstamp has the best timeline or the most timeline on TradingView. So as you can see, the 50 weekly is a very telltale sign of a bull to bear market. Let me even get rid of the other ones here, just so that's a little bit more clear. So, right here, what is this, 2012, bull market. When we get back below it, bear market. When we get back above it, we stay above it until we're back below it. We're below it until we really start, bear market accumulation, and then we're above, mini bull cycle, COVID crash, which we all know the market was going to return back to the mean, bull market 2020, end of 2019, huge run for us. Now we're testing this area. We're starting to get below it. We were below it 2 weeks ago. We bounced back up. Now we're looking to get back below. I would say, just from my own perspective, I don't think it's going to hold. I don't think it's going to hold at all. The bounce here, we would have needed to continue green. There is no way you can tell me that we're just going to make another red candle and then launch. There's not a bullish structure on the daily. Speaking of the daily, again, very quickly, let me pull out my moving averages. The 200 daily moving average, another telltale sign of bullish or bull market support line. We are now below it. We were slightly below it in this area with very weak volume. I mean, go figure, a bounce would have happened. But now we're coming back down with stronger volume. Volume's definitely curling back up. MACD's curling back down. RSI also broke through our support right here. So ultimately, I think this is going to break down. Being below the 200 daily and the 50 weekly, definitely not bullish signs. Definitely two of probably the most bearish signs or start of bearish signs that you can possibly get. Nothing is with the 100 utmost certainty, but just going off these two indicators, definitely not a very good sign. So with that said, I'm going to let Agris take the floor for a little while. If you want to share your screen, man, you can go right on.
Yeah, just 1 second. I'm just doing it now.
No worries. Conservative support. Oh, I don't know how to say your name. Rogilio Granados. 100K and a year. Trust me, bro. So what is that like? What do we have? Like a day and a half for that? Maybe.
Alrighty, can you see that?
Let me pull it up, man.
Yeah, no worries.
Let's pull this up. There. All right. Yeah, you're good to go, man.
Cool. So you just see a bunch of MAs, right?
Yep.
A bunch of lines. Okay, cool. Alrighty, so let's start it from the beginning, right? So, like Roman was saying, the dollar is bullish. The other thing, which I'm not going to pull up right now, but the other thing is that recently, the S&P 500, like I'm talking very recently, like maybe in the last few days, it was starting to go on a bit of a run back up. So what's strange is that Bitcoin over the last few days has been doing this, which is, basically, let's pull up this EMA. So I spoke about this in my video where it did a head fake like in June, and now it's heading back down, right? So that's what I think is happening. But the interesting is that the S&P was not doing this. The S&P was doing that. So it was retracing back to the previous all-time high and going back up higher, which is kind of weird because Bitcoin usually follows the stock market on the way up. So that's another sign of things to come for Bitcoin. So we're probably gonna head a bit lower. Let's pull up some, like, we'll go very quickly with the MAs. So Okay, so what do we have here? So we have the 50, the 100, and the 200, right? So the 50 is blue, the 100 is green, the 200 is red, right? And as you can see over here on the daily, it's pretty much losing every single MA, like Roman already mentioned. This is not a good sign. So these MAs are very normal. Everyone uses these MAs, even if they're using different things like EMAs, like Fibonacci numbers and stuff like that. Everyone still has a look at these MAs on the macro scale. So as you can see, it pretty much lost these a long time ago, and now it's fighting to keep the 200. Once it loses the 200, which is looking like it might do it today, if it closes underneath what 48,000, then that's not good at all because I mean it's done this before over here in June, in late May, right? And look what happened there. So um, yeah, I mean, then it's what it's called is going into dump discovery or whatever you want to call it, price discovery on the way down, right? So I just wanted to point it out really quickly. Over here, I have my main one. I have it on all my charts. This pink line is a 200 EMA, and as you can see over here, it already lost it. Same as back in, like I mentioned before, back in June. What I wanted to go over today is my thoughts on where we might be heading next. So over here, these orange lines are just support and resistance lines, right? So I just plotted them on just before. So we basically have the 53 over here, which didn't make it, right? This is going to be a major resistance for Bitcoin, no matter what. Eventually, even if it goes back to 30, when it comes back up, this is always going to be major resistance. And this is going back all the way back to the beginning of the year, and over here, right? So this is going to be, you got to pay attention to this number when it goes back up. But that's not for some time to come. So what I wanted to talk about today primarily is basically I don't want my bias to turn into like a perma bear or someone that's always like doom and gloom, right? I wanted to see what the next move is. I don't want to focus so much on where we are now, where we've been. Like, okay, me and Roman were both very bearish around here, right? Especially around here. So that's happened already. We're already in a downtrend. Nobody can argue that this is a downtrend. This is a downtrend, and it doesn't matter if you're a moon boy or a perma bear or whatever you want to call yourself. This is a downtrend, and what we want to see is what is the next move, right? There's no point talking about all of this. That's already happened. We want to see what's going to happen next. So I wanted to go over a bunch of scenarios in my mind, what I think might be happening next, and where we might bounce from. Look,
Bro,
Bitcoin's
hold
crashing
on. We
right
just
now.
nuked through we just
Bitcoin is
literally
crashing
nuked
right
through your line, bro. Yeah, while you were talking, I literally put a short in. So sorry I ruined the
I can
market
see
for
it crashing
everybody.
right now.
Oh my
That's fucking
god, dude, I
funny.
just put a massive short. I mean not a massive short, but I literally while you were I saw your line, I'm like, "Wow, that's a nice head and shoulders. I'm going to short that." And alrighty then. I think my other order just triggered too. All right. Well, sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt.
so
That was
no, that's all right, no
quite
problem.
funny. I literally, I'm not kidding you. I'm on my phone and I pulled up Femex and I was like, huh, you know what? I'm just gonna short it. Why not? And wow, I'm up 2% already. Cool. All right. Well,
Not bad.
back to you, man.
Yeah, no problem. So, like I said before, so we want to focus on where are we going next, right? What is Bitcoin going to do next? And that's kind of what I'm going to focus on over the next month or so in my YouTube videos, my Twitter and stuff like that, because we already called this. We already called this entire move, like all the way from over here, right? Yeah, it's dumping hard. All right. So basically what we want to see is it gonna bounce from here? Is it gonna go a bit lower, bounce from here, or is it just gonna fall through the entire floor and go, test 20K again, which is around the previous all-time high. Let's put a line around here, right? Is it gonna go all the way down here eventually and then bounce up? So what you're seeing here is a pattern, right? I mean, I expect Bitcoin to bounce back up, and so does Roman. At some point or another, it's gonna go bounce back up. I mean, it's just the way it is. We're in crypto to make money. We're in crypto because we're bullish on crypto long term, and Roman can say the same. So we gotta like try to figure out where is it gonna bounce from, right? And there's a bunch of things that we could use for that. So this volume profile indicator I've demonstrated before is one of them that I use quite a bit. So if we scale this properly, so that's the beginning of the bull market or something, right? So if we scale it from, let's say like this is pretty nice. So let's have a look. So if you have a look, so we'll get rid of this red line because we don't really need it right now. So this looks pretty good. So if I just hide these for a second, hide this as well. Okay, so over here on the right hand side, you're seeing basically the volume profile where the most amount of like bids in the past, like historically, wherever you're looking like at this entire view, right? These are the amounts where Bitcoin was trading in higher volumes. So we're talking from the beginning of the year, right? Not from just here or just here. We're talking like this entire period. You see this blip in here. So that's why basically at the moment we're kind of stuck in here because this is where we were if you remember at the beginning of the year in here, right? So logically the next move would be somewhere in here, right? So in here, this is quite a big volume profile. Obviously, this is where we were at halfway in the year and also back all the way back in January, right? So this is a logical point to kind of like look for a bounce. And this is discarding everything else, discarding Fibonacci numbers, discarding support and resistance lines. This just looks to
Dude,
me like a nice spot where it could
alts are getting
bounce a little bit.
absolutely murdered right now.
Yeah, I bet.
I don't. Okay, so sorry to interrupt again. So for those of you
Ah,
that
no
keep
worries.
hearing the beeping sound, I have
This is
alerts.
alarms.
I have alerts for like major areas of support for altcoins that I was going to short. And if you hear those beeping sound, I'll turn them off here on my phone. But they're just beep beep
Popping off.
beep. Dude, they're like my
Yeah,
phone's
because
blowing up. BNB
so another
specifically.
thing to mention is the daily close comes up in 30 minutes, just for your audience to, just in case they don't know. So normally you see price movements just before the daily close, like an hour or 30 minutes before, right? So anyway, so just looking at this indicator alone, we can see that this area here between, let's say, 40K and 30K is going to be an area where Bitcoin could potentially bounce, right? It could do this and then whatever it does next, right? So that's one area. After that, there's not a hell of a lot. So we have obviously, like I said before, this support line in here at let's put that in there as well, at 30K, which was our previous swing low before we went up. And then we also, after that, there's not a hell of a lot. There's nothing really up all the way down to 20K. That's why you hear analysts say, and you might think people are being extra bearish when they say, if we lose 30K, it's game over, like literally game over.
Yeah.
This is what they mean by that. Because we're going to revisit this all-time high at 20K. We might bounce from there. We might not, depending on, we're looking purely at Bitcoin. I'm not taking into consideration global macro outlook or anything like that. We're just looking at the charts right now and trying to figure out what it's going to do based on the information that we have, right? So yeah, so another thing I wanted to go over is basically this fib over here that I put down. So this is what is called a trend-based fib line. So let's remove that for a second. Actually, let's leave that on for a sec. So sorry about that. We'll just zoom in here so you can see it a little bit better. We'll hide this. So I put this. So if you're familiar with Fibonacci retracements, normally you take them from like, let's say over here, as you can see, this is the bottom, or you can take it from the beginning in here, right? And you can take it. Oh, whoops. Sorry about that. I'll take it the other way around. So you can take it from the top and the bottom, right? And you have your fib numbers and everything. You can and see where Bitcoin might bounce from. But so this is what I call a trend-based fib over here, where I took it from the top over here, dragged it down to the bottom over here, and pulled it back up over here where you see the zero, which is basically where we stopped the other day, right? And Elliott wave guys use this quite often. We kind of try to predict where Bitcoin might bounce from based on these fib numbers that you see in here, right? So technically speaking, the important numbers to look for are the 0.5 and 0.618. These are important numbers because Bitcoin, not just Bitcoin, but when uh, an asset goes into a correction, and normally the 0.5 is a number that kind of like keeps it between a bull market and a bear market, technically, right? Between an uptrend and a downtrend. And 0.618 is a very commonly retracement number, which I mentioned before, and other things. So we could potentially, like if we bring up the VPVR again, as I said before, we could potentially see, as you can see, these two numbers in here, and specifically are around here, right? So I wouldn't be surprised to see eventually Bitcoin go and retest these numbers, maybe here or maybe this one, right? No, we don't know yet. Nobody knows this. We're just trying to figure out where it's going to bounce from, right? So I could potentially see maybe some sort of an alt season, right? Or some sort of a dead cat bounce from there. up to previous, like I said before, those resistance lines that I pointed out before. So it could bounce all the way up to 53. Maybe you go even a little bit higher if they're pushing their luck. We don't know that, right? Because nobody knows it's going to go to. And so that's something kind of like what I'm looking at over the next maybe 6 months. See how this is progressing. But like Roman mentioned before, this is not looking too good in the very short term. Like over the next month, I expect at least this support line here to break, and we're going to retest most likely at least this 38k, 38.8 around this region around here, right? So the question is it going to hold, and is it going to go back up from there, or is it going to fall down deeper, right? Over the long term, what I see, where I see us in the market, I see us in a bear market for maybe the next 6 months or so, right? And if we're lucky, and if stocks don't crash and everything else is going okay, we might see a bounce and we might go on to put on a new all-time high, maybe let's say in the second half of next year. That's kind of like what I'm looking at, right? But you're looking at a steady, at least at the bare minimum, sideways motion, right, for the next 6 months. So maybe something, you might even see something like it goes to 38 and then just goes sideways. And then it does nothing for a while, similar to what I had over here. So we have over here this fractal. I took it from, this is not a bit. I took this fractal from last bull cycle in 2018. So sorry, in the bear market in 2018. So this is like from the dead cat bounce level and stuff like that. So I could definitely see something like this playing out. Look, I'm not like a huge fan of fractals. I'm just using this one to demonstrate like what I was saying before. I could definitely see something where Bitcoin goes down to a certain level, like I mentioned before, around the mid 30s, high 30s, and goes sideways for a bit, or it does its dead cat bounce and then it goes sideways, right? And then eventually you might see a quick drop back to the previous all-time high. Or you might see it might not even break this 30k, to be honest. And maybe there's a lot of buying pressure around there. People kind of rescue it. Who knows? Either way, I see like a quick drop and then we're off again, similar to here, right?
Yeah.
So as you can see over here, it's coming up in late next year. So this fractal is playing out, will play out pretty nicely. So either way, expect lower prices from here. How much lower we need to um, we can't really, I don't have a crystal ball. Roman doesn't have a crystal ball. We're just trying to show you like kind of the things that we're looking at, how much lower this is going to go. We're going to have to wait for our indicators to come up for the volume. The volume is very important. The volume has to come through. So when you get wherever you get that bounce from, the volume should be going up with it.
Yeah.
Similar to how we had it in here at the beginning of the year, because if we're going to go back into a bull market, you want people to be, buying it all up and being euphoric and all that, and you're going to see a big bounce. That's what you want to see. You don't want to see something like what happened here, where volume is going like that, because that's most likely going to indicate like a dead cat bounce or just a fake out rally, right? So that's something to look forward to. There's other indicators that I look at, like EMA crosses, MA crosses. All sorts of things, so that I might, kind of like drop hints in every now and then on Twitter, because I don't want to show these things, because the reason is I'm not being cocky by not showing them, or I'm not being like what should I call it? I'm not being a fuckwit, basically, by not showing them. The only reason I'm not doing it is because people copy RTA, and also whales. Believe it or not, whales watch everything. Market makers watch everything. So as soon as you show your special, let's say indicators that you're using to time the market tops, time the market bottoms, all of a sudden, okay, your indicators are not going to work anymore because the whales are going to spoof them. And this happens all the time, right? They're very good at what they do, and I'm not just being paranoid. This happens all the time, and not to mention all the moon boys and the moon girls that Roman mentioned before. They make money off of RTA. Some of them blatantly copy RTA, and they use it for their own benefit. They'll have paid Discord groups and stuff like that, and make it out to be their own TA. It's very easy to copy someone's TA. It's not hard, especially if you know a little bit of TA yourself. It's very easy. So that's the reason why I'm not showing a lot of those things. I'm only showing you the basics, what I call them, the RSI, the MACD, even this one, the squeeze indicator over here. These are the ones that I'm willing to show, because you can basically, if you know what you're doing, you can time the market just by using these. For example, I'll give you a quick example. If you just buy when the RSI goes under 25, you're going to be in the money, like over here, right? Because the price is always going to go back up. If you sell when the RSI is over 75, at least start selling. You don't have to sell everything, or at least put in a stop loss, right? If you put in a stop loss when the RSI is over 70, you're going to be in the money, because no matter what happens with Bitcoin, it's eventually going to go back down, because this is what is called overbought conditions. This is what is called oversold conditions, right?
Yeah.
So if you use these indicators, just the basics, you can time the market. Okay, so it doesn't take a genius to figure this out. But what
Exactly.
I like to use indicators like intraday indicators, things that are going to happen. Like I want to catch basically this sort of stuff. When this sort of stuff happens on the second candle, when I get confirmation, I want to buy in. That's when I'm buying in, right? That's what I want to do. But you can easily just capture the majority of this move by just watching and paying attention to what is happening, right? Another example is the MACD. So this is a very good one again. So as you can see it over here, where it crossed positively again. You could have bought there, right? And you can see this entire, because you can see the bars are starting to turn from red to green. You can buy in there and hold it all the way up until it crosses negatively, maybe sell a little bit and then wait to see what happens, wait till the next green bars, buy in again, sell again over here, and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to spend too much time going over these, because there's plenty of YouTube videos out there on MACD, on RSI, and all these indicators that I'm showing you. You have to put in the time to learn these things yourself. I'm not going to spoon feed you everything. And so Roman would say the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm just showing you what I'm looking at and making you think for yourself and start thinking about, right, why is he thinking like this? Why is he saying this? Why is he saying that, right? So just kind of trying to like jog your mind a little bit. So another thing I want to go over is the weekly really quickly before I hand it back to Roman. So the weekly is important because the weekly gives us the big picture, right? So this is what we call the macro outlook. The daily is good, but this is what gives us the big picture, where we at and where we're going, right? So like I mentioned before, whenever the MACD crosses negatively on the weekly, that's a big warning sign. And this is something that you need to pay attention to in the future. When, for example, if we're going to bounce, you want to look for something like this, where the MACD is going to cross positively, where the blue line goes above the orange line. If you see that happening, then it's probably a good time to just at least think about buying it, right? You don't have to go all in. You can scale your buys in. You can buy, let's say, 25% here, wait for confirmation on the second week, and then buy some more and so on, right? So you got to stop thinking about going all in, going all out, and start thinking about, right, how can I play this strategically, right? The same with other indicators. When you see multiple, what's called multiple confluence across multiple indicators. So let's just put a line over here, right? So just so I can demonstrate this a little bit better. When you see things like, for example, how I have it here, I have the MACD crossing positively. This is turning from a lighter red to a darker red, and it's squeezing towards. That's why it's called the squeeze indicator. It's squeezing towards green, right? When you see this, when you see that, you see the RSI over 50. Okay, so this is another important number to look at, because the RSI over 50 historically means, as you can see it over here, all the way back from last year, when the RSI goes over 50 on the weekly, that means that we're going to probably start an uptrend, right? And when the RSI goes under 50, we're going to start a downtrend, like you see it over here. So when you see confluence across multiple indicators like that, it's probably a good time to start thinking about, okay, maybe I should be buying, or maybe I should be selling, or whatever, right? So don't just look at one indicator, look at multiple indicators. Look at your MAs, like Roman mentioned before. Look at your, whatever else you have, your EMAs, your MAs, and use them to kind of make an educated guess of where the market might be going. And basically that's what I do, and that's what Roman does as well. Roman looks for what's called like chart formation, chart patterns, when he sees like things, for example, like in here, when we saw a double bottom forming, and then he knew that we might be heading up, right? Or for example, when we saw the double top on the macro, so if we can definitely see it on the weekly, double top, when you have a top and then you have another top within
Yeah, it's
very
six.
close range
It's
of the
in
previous one.
within 6% on a weekly. Like
Correct.
that's not a lot. That's like within 1% on a daily. To be completely
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, exactly. So you see even 6.5 on the weekly. So whenever Romans see something like that, they'll give him an indication that, okay, maybe we are overheated and we're going to be heading down lower, right? So these patterns do play out, and they're not bullshit patterns. I mean, a lot of them, they're not. It's not a. So a lot of people think of it wrong. So for example, the other day when I demonstrated that head and shoulders in here, right? So I'm just putting it roughly. I'm not going to make it really nice and pretty. I'm just going to put it rough in here. So you have left shoulder, your head, and your right shoulder here potentially forming, because the tip over here is very close to the left shoulder, right? So when you see these things starting to play out, it doesn't mean necessarily that this is going to go south, all the way south. It doesn't necessarily mean that, but it gives you an indication of what could be happening. And like Roman said before, when he was placing his shorts, because he had the same line that I had, and he knew that if this breaks, it could potentially go a lot lower. It might not necessarily go all the way down to
Dude.
30 or 20, but it will most likely reach that level again in here, and then he will exit his short and see how things are going, right? So don't think of these chart patterns as like, oh, okay, Agris put down a head and shoulders, that's happening 100%. That's not what I'm trying to show you. What I'm trying to show you is a potential scenario of what might be happening, right? And other analysts will tell you exactly the same thing. That these patterns are not 100% like foolproof. They're just meant to show you potential scenarios in your mind. So you got to stimulate your brain. You got to start thinking about these things, right? And stop listening to moon boys that are telling you we're only going to go up, because that never happens in anything. So,
Absolutely.
okay, so I'm kind of like rambling a bit, but that's basically what I want to go over. I'll let Roman just maybe ask me some questions or whatever he
Yeah,
wants to
yeah.
go through, and yeah,
So
take
I
from there.
got a lot of stuff in the chat. I'm just gonna switch to my screen real fast.
Yeah,
So
no
we've
worries.
got a lot of people, or a couple of people, a couple, whatever, saying that this is a double bottom. So first of all, a pattern's not confirmed until it's confirmed. Like, just because we have, two potential bottoms here does not mean this is a double bottom. This isn't a double bottom until we break 52K. However, it would be wise to try and catch this bottom. And if you're looking to long, I would recommend, trying to catch the bottom. Don't throw your whole account at it. Don't throw half of your account at it. Throw a decent amount that, you won't lose a lot, but you'd gain some. But the thing that I wanted to say, and I wanted Agris's opinion on this, I don't think this is double bottom. Partially because we are below the 200 daily moving average. We're below the 50 weekly moving average. We're also seeing a shit ton of volume coming in right now. If this volume was, and I'm also on a log chart, excuse me. If this volume was going down instead of going up, and it's also the most volume we've seen over the last 2 or 3, what is this, 2 weeks in here? So it's the most volume we've seen in the last 2 weeks. I would anticipate that this has enough momentum to break down. Could it hold? Absolutely. There's nothing that I can do to tell you 100% certainty. But with what Egris said earlier, you want to use indicators with positive correlation. You want to be looking at things that are rhyming together. If they're not rhyming together, then you're at a you can't make a really good conclusion. So the biggest thing for me is price action, right? So from the top to the bottom here, we have volume increasing as we're selling. This is very bearish price action. We actually move sideways here. This is sideways movement or consolidation. We're trading between two ranges. Although it looks like it's forming a pattern, I don't think it is. When you lose the 200 daily moving average with increasing selling momentum, when you lose the 50 weekly moving average twice, but now we have increasing selling momentum. Also, our RSI trend line broke. We have a breakdown here, increasing selling momentum. Buying momentum's waning here. To me, these are all signs that we're going to break down. Could Tether print $1 billion or $1 billion USDT and save this? Sure. I can't predict everything. Could a massive whale come in and buy? Sure, but it'll be a short-lived experience. And I really don't think that double bottom's going to play out, especially when this is the most volume we've seen in the last 2 weeks. If this volume was a lot less, and this maybe dragged out a little bit, came down here, consolidated, and went up, yeah, I'd absolutely say so. But for now, this just looks like a breakdown. Similar to over here, there were a lot of people saying, oh, double bottom. No. There was a lot more volume coming in. We were rejecting a trend line up here. It wasn't looking very positive. Also, macro outlook on the daily, Egris's line is here, which, I don't disagree with that. But let's just say, take a look at my white line here. We have a bottom, a bounce, a breakdown, a retest here. I don't know if we can really confirm that retest because we dumped a lot, but now we're coming back up. We haven't really retested it that well, but ultimately we have broken the uptrend. We are 100% downtrending. If you wanted to draw your line like this, sure, you could say we're retesting the line, but again, you have increasing selling momentum. I don't think that's going to hold up as well as you think it is. Egris, what are your opinions on this potential double bottom?
Yeah, look, it's a good kind of like scenario, right? So, first of all, you see that long wick down all the way down to where we went to that capitulation candle at 42-ish, 42, 43K. Those kind of candles, when that happens, it happened in in mid-May. So, sorry, do you have me on the thing? So I can show my.
Oh yeah, I can pull you up.
Yeah, cool, no worries.
Sure.
So, and on the 19th of May over here, sorry, I'll just zoom in a bit so you
Oh,
see.
I know what
So
you.
we had this
Yeah.
capitulation candle in there, and these kind of candles tend to fill in over time. So eventually we're going to revisit that. So, and over here, so this actually, technically speaking, this is a triple bottom, right? Because you got the same level, and then it went up from there. So this could play out for quite some time. This doesn't necessarily have to mean that we're going to bounce from here. But what I do expect to see is I expect this candle at 42 when we drop on the 4th of December. I expect this to fill in at some point. It might take some time. It might take a few days. Might take one day. It might happen tomorrow. Nobody knows.
It might happen
But
in
I
the
expect
next
this
hour.
level to see. Yeah, exactly. So when that happens, that's when we need to look at the indicators. That's when we need to see, is this going to be a relief rally up? Is it going to be a bounce up? Like I said, I do expect a dead cat bounce at some point. I don't think this was a dead cat bounce, honestly, because this looks like a fake out. This looks like a head fake to me. So I do expect some sort of a bounce at some point, but we can't tell yet because we need to wait to see. So first of all, it needs to create a bottom. It needs to create a foundation where the price is going to stop bleeding out and it's going to start like trending sideways at least, and build a foundation and see where things can go. So I think people that are saying it's a double bottom right now are jumping the gun a bit.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. So we got to wait to see. Like if we look at the indicators, the RSI still has room to fall when it gets underneath this green line. Basically, if you see it there and it goes kind of sideways, then it might be forming a bottom in there, right, before it goes back up for another run at it. Same with the MACD. It looks like it's about to cross bearishly on the daily. This is not a good sign. That means that we're going to see further downside. Same with the squeeze indicator in here, where it turned from a bright green to a dark green. That means we're probably going to see a bit of a blip, at least a bit of more downside pressure.
Especially
like
with
Roman mentioned, the selling volume.
Too.
Yeah, exactly.
Your bottom momentum, that's squeeze momentum. So yeah, that's very weak. Look at the last time it was very weak.
Correct.
And then the time before that in September, it was very weak and starting to curl over. It showed
That's
more
right.
downside. So
and when you see the momentum of the downside move is so much stronger than the momentum of the upside, right? So when you see stuff like that, you know you're in for some more fun, right? Some more downside for Bitcoin. So it's a bit early to call a double bottom. Like I said, we just have to wait and see where this price is going to stabilize, right? Where it's going to form some sort of a foundation. Nobody knows where that's going to happen. People are just speculating, right? So yeah, those are my thoughts on the double bottom.
yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement. Also, considering the fact that it's possible. I would like to see us kind of do something like if this was truly a double bottom. I mean, look how long we consolidated over here. Typically, and I always say this, I will say this until my grave, or to my grave. Patterns with crypto, the ones that are successful and play out, are always symmetrical. Always. I've never seen a non-symmetrical pattern that wasn't a fake out play out. So if we really are to make a double bottom, it's not just going to do this. Okay, for those of you that are like, oh my god, I should buy right now and panic and all this shit. No, it's if this truly is a double bottom, we're going to consolidate here. Okay, we might get a nice bounce, we might come back down, and then we'll go up. Okay, look how much time was spent consolidating over here. We'll probably be at this level for at least 3 to 5 days. I mean, look at the last double bottom we had in this 4 hour. And this is exactly what I'd want to see if this truly is a double bottom, is something like this, where we bounce and come up, maybe trade sideways and then do this and go up. And this is the double bottom you buy. This is why you look at hourly charts. But just strictly buying, this candle, especially with this is a double top. This is a double top, and selling volume is not waning at all. I mean, selling volume is still increasing. We're still seeing these big red candles. There's no consolidation. There's no reversal pattern on an hourly time frame. Could one form? Sure. But considering the indicators I'm showing you, this is not very positive whatsoever. Could the support hold? Sure. But as of right now, we would need to see at least a couple days, at least 3 to 5 days in consolidation before we continue up. I think if we just do one of these, it's going to be short-lived, we're gonna hit the top of this trend line and go back down for a reset. Just retest this double top neckline and then continue lower. Ultimately.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's take some more questions from people, right? What other questions do people have?
Yeah. Well, real quick, I did want to say for all of you guys that follow me and don't know, Agris does have a YouTube channel. I don't know if he's going to live stream. Agris, do you have any intentions to live stream? I know you make videos.
Potentially, yeah. I think you have to get over a certain amount of subscribers until when they let you live stream and stuff like that. So I'll have a look into it. I need to get some like software and stuff like that. So far, I've only just started doing this like recording thing, right? So it'll take me a little while to try to figure out what software I'm going to use for live streaming and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, eventually, most likely going to do it. And yeah, that's coming up. And the other thing is I need to wait 30 days because that's a new account. It's a new YouTube account I created. I need to wait 30 days before I can give it a custom URL.
Oh, yeah,
So,
that's right.
yeah, I got to wait until like probably like late Jan. So that's why I haven't put on my URL because it's going to change anyway, right? But look, if you follow me on Twitter at notagris, I post my videos on there as well. And yeah, just take it from there. If you want to see my videos, go for it.
Yeah, definitely check him out, man. Your analysis has always been really solid. You know, like Egris has said, both of us are pretty bullish on crypto in the long run. But you know, buying the top just is not an option, especially when other indicators are pointing very bearish, especially on like longer time frames. Like I told my friends, I told people I care about, prepare a DCA account, prepare to DCA during this next bear market because it can literally change your life. You can take, $10,000 and turn it into literally 200, 300, 400,000. I don't want to say it's the easiest thing to do, but it's pretty damn easy. You just open up a DCA account, put auto buy on, and just sit on it for 2 years. Yeah, it's 2 years. Sorry if you're impatient, but you make a 20 to 30 to 40 to 50x depending on the coins that you're in. Egris, I don't know your opinion on it, but I fully plan to DCA a big portion of my account.
And I mean, I put out a tweet. I put out a tweet last night. Well, it was nighttime for us over here in Australia. I put out a tweet saying that this is not. You could do a lot worse if you want. If you just started out in crypto, like today, you could do a lot worse than this moment in time, right? You could have been buying at the all-time high or the previous all-time high. We're going to be entering, like I said, a bearish downtrend, okay, for at least a few months. So this is not a bad spot to start DCAing in from now, right? It's just DCA slowly over the next year or 2 years, like Roman said, and you're going to make it out on top than the majority of the people on this market. This is not a bad spot at all to start DCAing because you're DCAing into a bear market. You shouldn't be waiting for the absolute bottom and you think you're going to go 100%. Nobody, all the pro guys that I know, all the people that know what they're doing, they don't wait for an absolute bottom. They buy a little bit. I guarantee you, they're gonna buy in at that. Like I said before, that support and resistance level. I guarantee you, they're gonna buy back in the high 30s, waiting for that dead cat up, or they might buy in at 30, even though they think 20K might be coming. You want to like average your buy-ins over time, right? So because this market moves extremely quickly, and like I said before, we could see an event where we're ranging sideways for a period of time, and then we get a quick shoot down, and then spring up from there and go on to another bull market, right? Nobody knows the exact scenario that's going to play out, so you want to like DCA in over time. A good DCA strategy. I get people asking me all the time, how do you DCA? How do you DCA? Okay, so let's work with round numbers. Let's say you have, I don't know, let's say you have $10,000, right? Like a lot of people, that's a lot of money for a lot of people, right? So let's say you got 10 grand and you want to DCA over the next year. Look, it's pretty easy. Like all you gotta do is like divide it by the amount of time that you're gonna like average your buy-in. So if you want to buy in every week, then you divide it by 52. That's 52 weeks in a year, right? You divide 10,000 by 52, whatever that number ends up being, and you buy every single day on the weekly. And if I was going to suggest a day, if you're going to do that, it's probably Mondays, because the reason for that is because usually Bitcoin dumps in the weekends, and you're going to get in. It's true. It's true. More
Fridays are always green, either by Thursdays or by Mondays, because Fridays for whatever reason are always green. I think that's because of paychecks, but yeah.
So there you go. There's a golden nugget right there. So if you're going to DCA on the weekly, Don't buy on a Friday and
Yeah.
just buy maybe at the beginning of the week or whatever. Look, but these things average. That's the whole point. You're averaging over time, right? And or if you wanted to do on the monthly, take the same amount of money, $10,000 divided by 12. Pick your birthday. Let's say you're born on the 20th or whatever, and you buy on the 20th every single month without blinking, without even looking at the charts. That's the whole point of DCA again. You're not supposed to time anything. You're supposed to just buy in the same amount over the same period of
Yeah.
time, right? And that's the way to win it, to be honest. Honestly, if I was starting out today, that's what I'll be doing. But
So
obviously, I got my TA skills. I'm trying to like kind of like time it a little bit better and stuff like that. Yeah.
we've got a really good question here. So Jared Wilder, he says, "What's your idea on China banning Bitcoin taking effect this Friday? Binance plans on locking accounts as well. Do you think this will be a massive withdrawals occurring?" Personally, like I'll give you my opinion, then Egris can
Yeah.
speak on
Yep.
his. I mean, think about it this way. Let's say you're living in China and Bitcoin, let's say you have 3 to 10 Bitcoin. So you have essentially $500,000. And your country says, we are banning this. Okay, so you could argue, okay, well, I'm just going to keep it in a wallet, whatever, whatever. Well, China, I mean, I don't know what China's going to do. I don't want to be the American that's like, China kills people that don't follow their laws. But I know the punishment is harsh. And I know it will be harsh for holding crypto because China wants to keep everything, centralized. So for me, I think the most logical thing is that they're going to sell it. They're going to sell off their Bitcoin. They're going to say, screw this, I'll sell it. I've got a ton of money, I'll sell it, whatever. Um, for the ones that trade and they're like, oh, I'm going to continue trading crypto, whatever, they're going to move. They're going to move to the United States, but what are they going to do in the meantime? And, this isn't everyone in China that does crypto. Not everyone from China is going to move to another country, whether it be the US, whether it be, Puerto Rico, whether it be Europe, whatever. I think the majority of these people are going to see this and sell. They're going to be like, oh, crap, I need to sell. I'm going to sell, especially with Binance locking accounts. Like, if you're from China and Binance is like, okay, we're just going to lock your account. Sorry, you're screwed. You're like, okay, well, I'm just going to sell, take my money, and get out. So that's my opinion. Egris, do you have any light you would like to share or shed?
Yeah. Yeah. So I went over that on my video yesterday. Um, So that's an interesting one, all right? So it looks like China is kind of positioning itself to be anti-Bitcoin, and the reason for that is because um, they like to control everything in their country, and for whatever political. I'm not going to go into all the political crap, right? Because we're only talking about crypto here. So they like to control everything over there, and they want to control their own currency, and they see Bitcoin as a threat because they want to make their own digital yuan, right? And what's going to happen is basically they can't control the Bitcoin because they don't own all the Bitcoins in the world. So therefore they can't control it. They don't hold the majority. So what they're going to do is they started by banning the miners, and that basically caused that massive 55% drop back in May. Everyone was calling, oh, it's FUD, oh, it's China banning. No, it's not. How is it FUD if it's reality? It's a fact. They banned the miners. They're not going to go back on their ban. They're not like India where they're gonna ban it one day and the next week they're not gonna unban it. Once these guys, you gotta understand, they work in what's called 100-year plans. They're very strategic in the way that they approach everything. So when they're looking at banning Bitcoin, don't expect it to unban it in the next year or in the next decade. They're gonna ban it for 100 years, and that's just the way that they operate. Okay. um, so what I expect to happen is they're putting a lot of pressure on Binance, and Huobi is another major exchange in China. Basically they gave them a deadline by the 31st of December, so at the end of this year they said, okay, basically cut all ties with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies that we see as a problem. They do not allow these wallets to hold them and stuff like that. So that's I think potentially, look, two things could happen. Like Roman said, we could get a big dump, or number two, that's already been priced in, where people already sold off their cryptos and stuff like that. But the other thing you got to remember is what the perception of this news, the bad news, the perception of people thinking, okay, this is what's going to happen, and so I'm going to sell, right? Because they expect Westerners expect Chinese people to dump Bitcoin on the 31st, right? And the perception of that is that Bitcoin is going to dump, and more often than not, the perception ends up being the sentiment, the market sentiment overall. The market sentiment right now is already bearish. We're already looking like we're going to drop. So potentially this could be that final push over the little cliff where it might bring it down to lower levels. That's what I think. I don't want to think too much into it. I don't want to say that it's going to crash Bitcoin, and that could happen, but I don't think it will. I think we're going to see a bit of a dip down and then eventually go back up for that dead cat bounce. So yeah, nobody knows what's going to happen. We're going to have to wait. Good thing is we only have to wait like a couple more days, right? And then take it from there.
Yo, so someone asked for what are your Ethereum or what are your Ethereum? What are your thoughts on Ethereum? Just pulling up. So two things I want to cover real quick since we're on the topic of Bitcoin. So one thing that I've kind of been discussing, Agris, since you've kind of been on stream, was the Ichimoku Cloud on the 2. And I found this really interesting because it's been one of the most consistent indicators in determining, like you said, when you came on a couple weeks ago, you were like, every time we lose this, the cloud, we dump like 20 to 30 to 50%. And I'd shown that a couple times on stream. And, guys, I'm not going to go back in time and look it up. You can see the last time we lost it, just one more, COVID, and then another one right here. So it is a very consistent indicator in determining very large crashes. So for me personally, we broke down, retested, and now we're breaking back down with a lot of indicator. I can hear my YouTube through your mic. But
Oh, I just muted you, sorry.
no, you're good. So like Agris said a couple weeks ago, once we start dumping out of this, especially with volume now increasing on this 2-day, also I want to point out this is a doji reversal. This is a very clean doji reversal on the 2-day, especially validated by volume. You have a green, a couple green buying candles, the doji candle, and then now a breakdown with much more volume than our previous buying was. So typically that is a sign of reversal. My trend line is like this now because we have a hard rejection here, but it's not looking good. Like this is Edgar, shed your light on this.
Yeah,
This
no problem.
indicator
So
that you've shown us before in the past.
yeah, look, so this is nothing like it's not there's not too much to think about. Like I was looking at Ichimoku. So I use Ichimoku. So Ichimoku is one of the main indicators that I use on a lot of things. And I use it to kind of, like I said before, like to find confluence across things, right? So when you see Ichimoku, the Ichi cloud is very important in Ichimoku trading. And it doesn't matter what time frame you're using it in. So I was thinking, okay, let's apply this to 2-day, 3-day, and so on. So then I realized this pattern forming on the 2-day where, like I said before, once the candle starts closing beneath the cloud and expect it doesn't happen necessarily immediately. It could happen over a number of weeks or maybe even a couple of months. Expect at least a 30% drop, sometimes even a 50% drop. So between those numbers, so that would take us from, like I said, originally at 48. Do you have my screen up? I'll show you on my chart.
I'll
Just
pull
real
you up.
quick.
Yeah, you're up. Good.
No worries. So that will show. So at the moment, like Roman was saying over here, basically I was taking it. So when I first discovered this was in mid-December, I was taking it from this candle. So if we are at 48K and we take it from there, let's say we take 30% from there, that would bring us back down to mid-30s, like I said before, which is in line with what I was saying at the beginning of the stream with the VPVR, where I said that we might end up maybe potentially finding some sort of a bottom in there before going up. So that's in confluence with that. The other percentage drop, which was the 50%, that will bring us much lower. That will bring us to, you take 48 divided by 2, then you already know it's going to be 24K, right? So somewhere around there. So definitely what I said on my YouTube channel as well, I'm looking at buying between um, between 30 to 20K if we drop that low. But I'm not gonna, if I see Bitcoin going down to, like I said, this high 30s, maybe 35, 38K, if I see it bouncing up, I'm not gonna wait around. I'm not gonna sit on my hands and be like, okay, this is most likely gonna be the dead cat bounce. I want to ride it up to whatever that number ends up being. Like I said before, this Ichimoku Cloud it's good on the 2-day. It's also good on the daily because on the 2-day it hardly ever goes past the cloud when it goes back up to on the retracement on the dead cat bounce. So again, look, that's coming up to, like I said, with the 53K, 54K, right? So if we see a dead cat bounce, this is not very unlikely for it to see to come all the way up here and then go back down again, maybe retest these lower levels, right? So that's what kind of like what I'm looking for. Again, it's in confluence with my other things I spoke about, like the fib that I put down before, right? The VPVR, the other things like that, right? So just pay attention to this over the next maybe few weeks to see how things are progressing. Also on the daily, the same kind of story. So when you see it, when Bitcoin enters like a downtrend, the cloud itself is going to act as major resistance. As you can see, this is getting pretty big. So this is another thing you need to pay attention to, is the size of the cloud. As you see over here, this indicates major resistance over here, not so much when the cloud is thinner, right? The same, you can use it for support the same kind of way. When the support is thin like that, that means that if Bitcoin was to take a dump from there, this is not going to hold very well. This is most likely going to go down through. As you can see over here, the support was pretty good. The cloud was pretty thick, so it held, right? Over here, the same kind of story, but we entered the downtrend. And this is kind of like where you have to pay attention to how things are progressing, because these are not these are just indicators. They're just indicating you what could happen. It doesn't necessarily mean the same thing is going to happen every single time, right? If you see Bitcoin doing this, when it pierces straight through the cloud, it retraces back down, and then you see it bouncing up again, you know that you're entering an uptrend, right? Because it's going straight through the cloud. It's like cutting through it like butter, right? So basically, those are the things to look for on the daily when it comes to Ichimoku. Again, the other things to look out for is oops, my bad, is these moving averages. So they have special names. So I can't remember, honestly. One of them is like Tenkin-san. The other one is like some other fucking name. This is a Japanese indicator, so they use Japanese words for it. But anyway, the only thing you need to understand is that these are moving averages. The blue line and the red line are moving averages. They also use it to time their entries. So when the blue line crosses above the red, like in here, you can see it. Then you can time your entry on the second candle as confirmation. You can say, okay, I'm going to buy in and put the stop loss below the previous candle, right? So you can do something like that where you can time in your entry. Over here at the moment, this fake out rally, as you can see, the line momentarily, so I'm going to zoom right in here because it's kind of hard to see. The line momentarily crossed over the top, right? So that was a fake out. Like I said before, I expected this to be a head fake, and you could have. So that's why you got to wait for confirmation, right? I mean, you could buy here, which was okay as long as you put your stop loss, let's say in here. Look, it's never going to be perfect, right? It's never going to be like the kind of thing where you're going to time your perfect entry. So let's say if you were to follow Ichimoku, the line crossed the blue crossed above red, and you bought, let's say, this big ass red candle. Well, then you're going to put it, you're going to put in your stop loss and the previous, swing low, whatever that position is. So the most you stand to lose is whatever this percentage drop is going to be, right? I mean, nothing is going to be perfect, but you can use it for that. Yeah. So anyway, I'm not gonna go. I could spend like fucking hours talking about this. I'm just gonna just wanted to mention a few things. So yeah, keep a look at it on the 2 day. Don't worry too much about the moving averages. I mean, you can, because they are useful, but mainly I'm always using it for the cloud for this. So you can have a look at the moving averages as well, because it's a confirmation of an uptrend when the averages start crossing on a higher time frame, or when they start crossing bearishly or whatever, right? That's confirmation of a downtrend, confirmation of an uptrend when it crosses the other way around. So yeah, just something to keep an eye on. Like I just thought it was interesting. Like sometimes I look at random things and I post them on Twitter, see what other people are thinking, and I thought this was an interesting one to look out for.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. So I guess I'm gonna cover a couple other things. Egris, I'd like your opinion specifically on Ethereum right now. So we've got some people asking about Ethereum. Real quick, I just want to talk about Bitcoin dominance. So Bitcoin dominance at support, triple bottom. What it's looking like. I mean, it doesn't really look like we're breaking down. And also, I'd like to say, when Bitcoin starts outperforming altcoins, it means we're in a bear market. Has Bitcoin been outperforming altcoins? No, but we are at support. This support is game changing. If this breaks down, altcoins will absolutely, explode, go to the moon, do whatever your moon boy lovers have said. But if this goes up and we break this green line, it's over. Your hopes and dreams of having a 20x, 100x altcoin season are done. And the biggest thing to point out is we have talked about we've lost the 200 daily moving average. We've lost the 50 weekly moving average. All of these things are what represent a bear market. And now Bitcoin dominance is at support. This is another positively correlated indicator or chart that goes with being in a bear market. I fully expect this to go up. Fully expect it. I don't think alts are in a very strong place. I don't think I don't think anything is really screaming bullish to me. I think what went up went up. I think the metaverse coins did their run, and that was the end of it. I don't think Bitcoin dominance is going to break down anymore, especially with all of the bearish confluence that we have. Does that mean that altcoins won't bounce really hard? No, I do think altcoins are going to have their time. They'll probably bounce and do a 50%, maybe a 2x, but that's about it. I don't think we're going to see an altcoin, a big alt run like a 10x, 20x. I don't know about you, Agris, but that's just what I think right now.
Yeah. Okay, so two things that I'm thinking about there, right? So do you mind putting my screen back on? I'll
Yeah,
share
Ethereum. Absolutely.
So, all right, so I just looked at Ethereum just now, like literally like 2 minutes ago. So we're using the same indicators, but for Ethereum, right? So I put down some fib levels in here, and we got the VPVR. So if we just looked only at the VPVR and the fibs, we can see the strong support here. Like this is the previous to July, the massive support around these levels between, let's say, $1,500 and $2,000, right? And so that if you would, the thing to look out for is, where is Bitcoin right now, right? So Bitcoin is in a similar spot where Ethereum is, right? So if you're looking, like I said before, let's imagine this is the 30K for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is going to retrace down to there, then I expect Ethereum to do the same thing. The Ethereum is quite a strong altcoin. So it's one of the altcoins that's going to be around for a very long time. And I don't expect it to go, like, if Bitcoin retraces down to 30K levels, I don't expect Ethereum to go, like, let's say to $1,000. That's not going to happen. It might go a little bit lower, maybe, maybe form a new low around here and then go back up if Bitcoin goes back up. So pay attention to where Bitcoin was earlier this year, and it's kind of like you're going to get a preview where your altcoin is going to be in the future if Bitcoin retraces to that level. So that's a tip that I would give to people. Another thing is, if we're just going to look at the fib levels, as you can see in here, again, this is the September. So this is kind of like Bitcoin at 40K, right? Over here with Ethereum is at 3,000. I expect this is also the 0.618 fib level. So eventually, if you're going to see a dead cat bounce in Ethereum, I would expect something like it would reach this level and then go bounce back up to maybe reach the top of this cloud, which eventually is going to like start descending down. And then you might see Ethereum, maybe go down a bit lower, maybe to these previous lows in here before it goes back up if Bitcoin decides to go back up. So that's why I focus like 90% of my TA on Bitcoin, because if you watch Bitcoin, you know where the other altcoins are going to go the majority of the time. And this is why Roman would say the same thing as well. So I plan on buying a lot of Ethereum, especially if we go back to these levels and lower, because I could make another video on this, which I will make another video on this. Basically, you want to stick to the big boys. You want to stick to Bitcoin, Ethereum. These are the big boys. They're always going to do well no matter what. And you're not going to get, like Rome would say, you're not going to get a 10x gain potentially if they go up, but you're going to get a decent return and you're not going to get screwed, which is the most important thing. And you gotta play it safe sometimes. So if I was to say, if I was new, I would focus on dedicating the majority of my portfolio, so over 50% of my portfolio, towards Bitcoin and Ethereum. And after that, maybe play around with whatever your favorite shitcoin is and whatnot. I mean, everyone comes up with their favorite. It changes. It's a flavor of the month, right? One month is one favorite, next month is another favorite. That's why these coins, like I said this before in the previous videos, like these coins, the majority of the shitcoins right there, like 99% are not going to survive a prolonged bear market. So you want to stick to the big boys. You want to stick to, like I said, Ethereum, Bitcoin, even XRP, because XRP is going to stick around. So, and focus the majority of your portfolio around there. So that's if I was, yeah. So that's basically my thoughts on Ethereum. Another quick thing I just wanted, because I just saw it just now.
You just lost your fib line as well. This thing is about to dump, brother.
Yeah, I see Ethereum.
I just noticed that, and I'm like, wow, okay, that's so. People again were asking about the double bottom on Bitcoin. So look at Ethereum. If there is a double bottom on Bitcoin, why is Ethereum breaking below recent lows? Ethereum is the queen of crypto, just like Bitcoin's the king, Ethereum's the queen. If Ethereum's breaking down and not making a double bottom, most of the altcoins are going to do, they're going to follow. So for me, I'm like, if I see that, if Ethereum was making a double bottom and it looked very promising, and Bitcoin currently kind of has a double bottom, then I'd agree with you and I'd say, okay, maybe a double bottom is possible. But we're seeing two ginormous red candles with no wicks. They have a lot of selling momentum. We've broken through recent lows, not quite through the giant wick on the, what is that, the end, like early December, I believe that was when we had that huge crash. But overall, I mean, if these altcoins are going to start breaking down, like I just said with Bitcoin dominance, I mean, Bitcoin's going to go down, but not as much. So that was kind of the point I was trying to provide in that regard.
Yeah.
Also, I have someone in
100%.
chat saying countries are buying the dip, bro.
Okay, which country?
Yeah, I was about to say which countries because, I know a lot of people are like, oh, El Salvador this and El Salvador that. Little did you know, El Salvador is one of the most corrupt countries in the world and has one of the most highest crime rates in the world. Secondly, their leader, whoever that guy with the backwards white hat is, that he's not posting their buys. He hasn't posted any sort of buying. He's just saying, oh, we bought the dip, we bought the dip, we bought the dip. Okay, so let me give it to you this way. He started buying above 50K. We are now below 50K. So he's playing with his country's money. A country that honestly is, not doing great. Let's be honest. Most people in El Salvador are very, very poor. They're, I wouldn't say starving, but they're hungry. A lot of them live off land or maybe need government aid. El Salvador is not the United States. El Salvador is not Australia. El Salvador is not a lot of European countries. El Salvador is a second, maybe third world country that needs to come up and not use its country's money to buy a volatile asset at the moment. That is not what El Salvador needs. So I don't know where this crap is that countries are buying Bitcoin. I don't know any countries that are buying. I know countries that are banning Bitcoin. And although I am very bullish on blockchain technology and Bitcoin and Ethereum itself, I have to go with facts. And Russia's banned Bitcoin. India's trying to ban Bitcoin. I believe Turkey's trying to ban Bitcoin. And we already know that China's banning. And China will absolutely make that happen. So, just my own opinion.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And at the end of the day, look, we're not here to bash on the little guy, bash on countries. Um, that guy, I believe, is very irresponsible what he's doing. You shouldn't have like a world leader. He's a world leader, like he's a country, he's a leader of a state. Doesn't matter if it's small or big, and he has certain responsibilities that he needs to meet and fulfill for his population. But unfortunately, he's just um, he's what he's trying to do is basically stick it to the IMF, which the country owes a lot of money. A lot of these what they call developing countries, they borrow money from the IMF and the World Bank, and they owe them a lot of money, and they basically don't want to pay it back, or they're getting screwed over by the interest rates that they're getting charged. So basically, they see Bitcoin or something like this as a way out, as an escape. You don't hear the Moonboys talking about this sort of stuff because I'm very well versed in like global politics, geopolitics, and this sort of stuff, and I know what's happening over there. It's not a play where they're trying to oh yeah, we're gonna adopt Bitcoin, we're gonna be the world leader. There's nothing to do with that. It's more like they're giving the middle finger to the IMF, and they want to create a whole bunch of noise. And that's why that guy is saying he's buying a dip, he's doing this and that. So you need to look at the big picture holistically when you make decisions on that sort of stuff. And when people say, like you said before, oh, countries are buying the dip, like, okay, show me the proof. Who is buying the dip? Where are they buying from? I don't want to just hear this bullshit. Like people say this on Twitter as well. Oh, I think the price is gonna go to 39,000, and then it's gonna bounce up to a new all-time high. Okay, that's your opinion. I want to see the TA
Yeah, I want to
behind
see
it.
the
Show me the
proof.
TA. Show me the proof. Who is buying? Where is buying? Show me something. Don't just come up with these fucking numbers. Sorry, well, I swear. I
Dude,
thought
it's okay.
the,
I don't
I
I
don't
don't
want to mess
mind.
up your algorithm because I know if you swear on YouTube, it can mess up with your
Uh,
algorithm. So
that's not that bad. It could be
I,
worse. And at this point,
I
like I'm not
I'll
relying
try not
on
to swear.
dude, you
But I
can
get I get quite heated when people do this sort of stuff, and they do it all the time. They're like, "Oh, Bitcoin's gonna go to this level
yeah.
and it's gonna bounce back up." I'm telling you, I was like, "Okay, that's cool, man. That's your opinion. I'm showing you the charts. I'm showing you TA to back up my opinion. Where is your TA? If you don't have your TA, then don't talk to me about Bitcoin is doing this, Bitcoin is doing that, because I'm not gonna believe you, and I just think you're just another moon boy, right? So
Yeah.
show me something, and then I might be more inclined to believe you. At the moment, I find it very hard to be bullish on anything Bitcoin right now in this moment in time. And unless you go on stupid broken models like Plan B and all these other on-chain, which I feel like it's smoke and mirrors, it's nothing, right? It's just smoke and mirrors. So look, I don't want to go on because I could spend another hour talking about this sort of stuff. So basically, if you come up with a statement, I want to see the proof. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. No, we've got a couple more questions coming in. So Simon Tibbs says, why do so many CT influencers constantly call moonshots 100K end of year. So I'll give you my take, and then I'm sure Eggers is going to pretty much agree with me here. You can interrupt at any time. So I have put this together. It's not very hard to see. The influencers, like I had said in the tweet that went viral, this morning, today, whatever. The whole point of that was these influencers are being paid by the exchanges. The exchanges are, similar to casinos. Casinos are going to offer you, dollar drink night. And if you bring friends, you get a discount and all this other, this other shit. They're trying to bring you in because the casino, when the casino makes money, the casino's making money because you're losing money, essentially. So the exchanges stay in business and make money when you lose money. And in order to, be greedier to make more money, they go to these people that have hundreds of thousands of followers, specifically Bybit. Bybit is the worst at this, and it's so obvious what they're doing. But regardless, are we at 46K? Oh, okay, my second short's about to trigger. Nice. All right, well, regardless, if you guys have ever seen the Moon Carl idiot, MM Crypto, Fat Boy Crypto, I believe the Lady of Crypto or the giant forehead girl, she's starting to get into this. I could go on, but what they do is
you can spend the next 10 years fighting these people,
But the whole point is what they're doing is they're advertising and they're saying, hey, if you go to Bybit and use code whatever, you'll get 20% off your fees. You'll get a $1,000 bonus depending on how much you put in. You get all this crazy stuff, all this stuff, and that's a distraction. And they're also saying, oh, you can use leverage. Okay, for all of you guys that are like, oh, I can use leverage and get rich. No, the whole point of them offering leverage is, one, you pay a higher fee. Two, you get liquidated and absolutely boned if you lose, which is why I've always told everyone, unless you're a very, very experienced trader, don't use leverage. There is no get rich quick scheme. There is no, I'm going to put in this trade and wake up tomorrow a millionaire. There is none of that. Okay. None of it. Okay. You could have been the one person out of billions of people on this planet that bought Sheeb and became a millionaire. Sure. But that's like winning the lottery, but regardless, these people advertise, they're paid to advertise, and you see their posts and they're like, oh, Bitcoin to 100K tomorrow, or look at this. So I'm going to pull up my Twitter post just so people can reference this. So this is the Twitter post I had posted. And again, like I said earlier in the stream, this wasn't to point out, oh, I'm a genius and I'm the best at TA. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to point out that every single time we are at resistance, these people get as bullish as possible. They all tweet the same bullshit. They all do the same exact thing. And frankly, they should be criminalized for this. This is ridiculous. But, we can't throw people in jail for giving their opinion. That wouldn't be fair. But regardless, all of these people. And by the way, anyone saying Benjamin Cohen doesn't deserve to be here, you're an idiot. He deserves to be here. He was telling you 200, 300K. Okay, he was one of those people. I get it. I follow him. I think his analysis out of all the Moon idiots is the best. I think he tries to stay grounded, but he also gives a referral code and all this other bullshit. He is doing the same thing that the Moon Carl's doing, that the giant forehead lady's doing, that Butcher's doing, all these people. Crypto Burb, who's terrible at TA. Michael Van Poop, same, terrible. Tech Dev. Okay, for those of you that don't know, Tech Dev, on his chart, he goes, we haven't hit a top yet. And one of these days I'm going to find the chart. His chart showed that we have topped out. And he posted and said, we haven't topped out yet. That was just nothing, and don't worry about it. Like, are you serious? Like, his chart showed that we had topped out, and I called him out. And thankfully he didn't block me, because now I can use his tweets and call him out for this shit. But regardless, the whole point I'm trying to provide is, these people, all of these people, were extremely bullish. And if you're a newcomer, you see these people. All of them have 100,000 plus followers. And you would have bought up here. And if you use leverage, specifically, if you use their code and use leverage and use Bybit and all this other bullshit, we've gotten liquidated. The Moon Carl and Egris, you had said he bought it and then sold it. He put a 10x leverage trade with $100 grand. Okay, at 49.1K. We're
I think it might have been
currently
1 million,
at
or might have
46.
been closer.
He'd be completely liquidated right now. He would have lost $100,000. He definitely did that on purpose. 100%. He definitely bought it and sold it, or had a prior or whatever. He could have used Photoshop. These people are totally messed up in the head, man. I don't understand how they get off. And also, I don't really fight with people on Twitter, but I really despise the lady of crypto because she's a complete idiot. She had said this tweet: Bitcoin looking bullish this week. Not gonna lie, I'm excited. She was one of the few that I replied to, looking for all-time high in January. She had replied and said, "Oh, well, you're not always right all the time." And sorry, let me do my impersonation. You're not always right all the time. Because her fucking forehead is huge, like big forehead, tiny brain. All right, regardless. She had said that, and then she was like, "Oh, sorry, I put a hopium tweet out there." Like, okay, so you're not providing anything useful other than hopium, and you've probably trapped a shit ton of people because you have influence. You have influence in this market. You have people are listening to you. They're responding to you. In the stock market, if Elon Musk says he's selling his shares and manipulates the market that way, he gets fined. He gets the SEC goes after him. Why the hell isn't the SEC or whoever? I don't know if this person's from the United States, so it'd probably be a different organization. Why aren't these people getting got after? They're influencers. They influence the market. I think Egris and I could influence the market at this point too. If Egris and I were like, "Oh, we're buying XRP," and we pump the price up, let's say Egris and I bought a long time for it. If you guys knew the Wolf of Wall Street, if I had bought a bunch of shares and then I said, "Oh, this asset, I bought it. It's the shit. It's this, it's that." A perfect example is the Squid Game coin. The
Yeah, that's the
like.
thing, right? Like micro caps.
So that's my opinion. I lost 13 G's because Jesus, man. I'm sorry to hear that. But
Yeah,
yeah, Egris, if you have any light you'd
the
like to shine, man, go after it.
yeah. So you're 100% correct. And the thing is, like I said before, I could spend fucking, I swear again, I could spend the next 10 years, you know, berating these people and going over it. Look, at the end of the day, like, the one thing, if I was to say one thing that you want to get out of this conversation is just think for yourself, all right? If someone's trying to get you to buy something, think, why are they trying to get me to buy here? Start thinking for yourself. Put the emotions aside, because these people, one thing, they're not idiots, okay? Number one. Number two, they know exactly what they're doing. They're trying to manipulate you into buying basically their bags. And for whatever reason, you can say they're getting, think of it this way, they're trying to take something from you, whether it's your money, your time, your attention, whatever. They're trying to take something from you and not give you anything in return. And they act all friendly, and they act like you're your buddies, and they post these memes and they think they're all cool and this and that. These people are out to get you. So think of them as your enemy. They're not your friends. There's very few people in this space that I would say that they're good people. Very few. I could probably count them on one hand. And so think for yourself. This is an ugly game. This is basically it's kind of hard, it's rough to say this. It's kind of like war. Think of it like if you win money, you're winning the war. If you lose money, you're losing the war. Okay, think of it that way rather than, oh, we're all gonna make it. We're all in this, forget it. Diamond hands, laser eyes. Those are all bullshit things to make you buy the top, right? And they're gonna dump on you over and over again. Look, I'll give you a nice little statistics I saw on someone's YouTube video the other day. They were saying that the majority of Bitcoin wallets, the vast majority of Bitcoin wallets were created in 2021. Well, if you were a newcomer in 2021, I guarantee you would have bought near the top, because that run up what happened at the end of last year. So when all the news media outlets and these blog sites online were going crazy about Bitcoin in January, Feb, that's when Bitcoin was almost at its all-time high. If you bought there, you either sold at a loss when we had that massive 50% drop, or you held up until the previous, the 69K all-time high. And this goes for altcoins as well. People are saying to me, "Oh, but huge altcoin gains." No, altcoins have underperformed this market. This since April till now, altcoins have underperformed. They've only just, majority of them have gone up with Bitcoin. Not many of them. Okay, if you got lucky and you got in on the right ones, like AVAX, if you bought in at $13 when it dipped and it went up to 160, okay, you made a 10x. But how many people have done that? Not many. We're talking about the big picture. We're talking about the majority of people, right? So start thinking for yourself. Start thinking, how can you put yourself in the best position to win in the long run? Stop thinking about, oh, okay, it's a get rich quick scheme. The majority of people that make money in this game, they make it over years. It doesn't happen overnight. Yeah, just start thinking of yourself. I'm not going to say much more on that. I mean, I could spend, like I said, hours talking about these people. They're fake people. To me, they're just a bunch of fakes. And at the end of the day, I've always been like an honest person. I try to, try to call things as they are. And if I wanted to, I could say, well, Bitcoin's going to 200K and this and that. I could have 100,000 followers, but that's not the point because I'll be lying to myself. I'll be lying to my own belief system. I'm not saying what I think is truthful, and the truth matters. Like, believe it or not, even it doesn't matter what people tell you in life. The truth matters, and later on, sooner or later, these people are gonna get their comeuppance in one way or another. Karma is gonna come and get
Absolutely.
them, and something's going to happen to them. You will see. The majority of these people don't know how to hold on to their money. Even if they made $1 million, $2 million, whatever, they have no clue about any sort of investment vehicles outside of crypto, and they're going to lose it just as quickly as they made it. So trust me on that, because they're basically kind of like professional athletes where they make the majority of their money over a few years and then they blow it all on stupid things, because at the end of the day, that's what happens with these kind of people, and they're here today, gone tomorrow. So that's all I'm going to say on that, basically.
Absolutely. So it's been about an hour and 30 minutes. I'm getting hungry. I gotta eat. So Eggers, I wanted to ask if you have any final thoughts, anything that you'd like to show the rest of the crowd. Someone's asking for you to talk about XRP, so I can absolutely give you the floor on that if you'd like. But I'm pretty
Exactly.
much
Yeah.
wrapping it up, man. I'm getting hungry out here.
Yeah,
So
no problem.
so
Okay,
yeah, let me
just one
pull up.
second.
Yeah, let me pull up your screen. I'm gonna use the restroom real quick, so I will be right.
Yeah, no worries. So XRP, yeah. Look, let's bring it up. XRP. I'm gonna pull up. Let's say Bitstamp, right? Alrighty. So XRP, it's an interesting one. So let's pull this down. So I don't have any like lines or anything like that. I'm just going to do it fresh. So basically, at the beginning of at the beginning of the year, XRP went up with in line with Bitcoin, right? So it hit this level at $2, and then it started declining down with Bitcoin, where Bitcoin reached these lows in June. XRP hit the same kind of lows around 50 cents. At the moment, it's hovering at 80, around 80 cents. What I did is I bought. Originally, I bought in around these levels, like around $1 flat. And I was thinking, okay, this was when Bitcoin was at around 69K. I thought, okay, XRP is going to do that, right? And I realized, hold on a minute, whatever Bitcoin does, XRP is going to follow through as well. So I exited the majority of my position around, not at the old, not, I didn't time it perfectly. This happened very quickly. I probably exited the majority around $1.10, so maybe made 10% or something like that on that, and that's fine. Made money, didn't lose anything, right? So then I saw this massive dip over here. I didn't buy the absolute bottom. I bought in around this range, between 70 to 80 cents, right? And then I was warning on Twitter about that solo airdrop. Normally, when an altcoin has an airdrop or whatever, an event coming up, if it's a significant event, you're going to see a pump. And normally, what happens is that it pumps, it peaks, and then it goes back down. So we can see this as well on other indicators, right? So again, on the MACD, very important indicator, you can see it started to turn this kind of color, and then you know that it's reached the top, right? And now the MACD is about to turn negativity. So um, I knew that eventually, like I had my support and resistance levels on here, and I knew that $1 is going to be major resistance level. So I thought, okay, the likelihood of me making it in one piece above $1 is very low. So I thought, okay, I'll sell around 95, 96 cents. On that day, I sold pretty much everything, right? I didn't say this on Twitter because I'm not gonna. My Twitter account is not made to make calls, and I'm not. It's not a trading account where I'm gonna make calls out. Here's your take profit. Here's your stop loss or whatever. My account is mainly focused on macro outlook, so I'm not gonna post all my trades and what I do. But anyway, let's just say I exited here. At the moment, I'm sitting predominantly in cash, and I'm waiting to at least like for this bottom wick to get filled in before looking at potentially buying back in. So around 65, 60 cents, right? If Bitcoin bounces like in that high 38, so this is like the equivalent of 38K for Bitcoin at this level here, right? If Bitcoin bounces from there, then and we're looking at, let's say, I don't know, I'm speculating. Let's say Bitcoin bounces around here in January and does that for dead cat bounce. But then, of course, XRP is going to go up as well, right? And in late January, there's some key dates around I believe around the 14th of January, around maybe the 19th. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there are some key dates in January that the XRP case is made to kind of like come to a decision. So if you're buying in here in January, and I'll have my stop losses, obviously maybe around these levels in here, like let's say, around 50 cents or whatever. It's a risk because I'm taking the risk that it could drop down to those levels again, and I will lose money. You're not getting out of this game. It's a gamble at the end of the day. But the upside potential, if around that time and it coincides with the SEC case doing well, then this thing is going to skyrocket. We're looking at a new all-time high very easily if they beat the SEC case or if they get a favorable outcome. Right? I'm not going to fight the narrative. I think even if Bitcoin goes at 38K, goes up to 53, and then goes back down, if the timing is right on XRP, you can make a lot of money. And again, this is one of those coins I'm just using it as a short-term play, like over the next few months, basically to take advantage of the SEC case. After that, when it reaches a certain level, I'm not, like I said before, I'm not gonna show the entire like my Twitter space and everything, like my buy, where I'm buying and where I'm selling, because I'm not gonna make competition for myself, right? Let's just say, basically, I think XRP is gonna do a new all-time high. So the previous all-time high was what, like at $4 or whatever it was, $3.80 something, right? This one over here, so it's $3.31, right? So I think it's gonna go above that very easily because it hasn't put in a new all-time high this bull run. Also, it coincides with certain Elliott wave theories where currently we're going down in a wave. I believe this is wave 2, and we're going to go up to wave 3. So wave 3 and wave 5 are the explosive waves. So that coincides with that as well, with like a good, confluence with that. So what I'm going to say is it's going to put in a new all-time high. So if you're buying in at, let's say, around 60 cents, so what's that, 60 times 5? You're looking at least, at the bare minimum of 5x if it's going to go to the previous all-time high, right? And if it puts in a new all-time high, let's say $4, you're looking at an 8x from there, right? So, sorry, more like a 7x, sorry about that. So 60 times 7, 4.2, something like that. That's not very inconceivable to see that. And I think that's very reasonable to think that it's going to go to $4. What I don't think is reasonable to say is like it's going to go to $30 or $50 or well, it's all sorts of Moonboy predictions. Again, those people are out to get you. They're saying those numbers because they want to dump on you around, whatever they're
Absolutely.
gonna dump on. And so they're pumping, they're putting these like little seeds in your brain that are gonna grow over time, right? And when the time comes, they're gonna dump on you 100%. I guarantee you that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
One last thing I wanted to just say really quick about XRP is that big money. So okay, so if we look at this on the big picture, right? Let's hide everything else. So let's hide this trend lines. I just want to go over this. So I'm gonna make an entire video on XRP. But anyway, so this is just a giant to me. Sorry, this is just a giant cup and handle to me. This looks like a giant, like multi-year. We're going all the way back from 2018 to 2021, and you see this over here. This is the candle. It's the handle starting to form on the cup. It's not going to be perfect. I'm just drawing this just to demonstrate. So this is a very bullish pattern for the long term. Sooner or later, this thing is going to pump. So if you're thinking about getting, let's say you bought XRP at $1 and you're looking at exiting now, I probably wouldn't sell right now because well, you already made like you're going to be taking on a 20% loss, right? And if this thing goes sky high from here, you're going to miss out on all that. You're probably going to buy in higher up and you're going to miss out. So if anything, you should, hopefully you didn't go all in. So you can at least buy a little bit more around 60 cents or whenever it goes, dips a little bit lower, maybe even 50 cents, right? And then you can kind of like average your buys in. But if you went all in now, well, it is what it is. You kind of screwed up and you got to make your own decision. I'm not going to tell you to sell. I'm not going to tell you to buy, but this is, if you went all in here, like let's say around here, this is still not a bad spot to go all in. All things considered, if you're going to a new all-time high, if you bought in around $1 and you didn't sell, you're still looking at a 4x, right? So it's not the end of the world. So that's all I'm going to say about XRP for now. I'm going to make my own video on it. And yeah, cool.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for coming on today and thanks for sharing your opinions, dude. I definitely appreciate it. Look forward to have you back on like always. But
Yeah, no worries.
just to reiterate, guys, Egris, like he just said, he has a YouTube channel. He's considering live streaming as well. So go ahead and check him out. He's a very good analyst, someone I definitely would look into. He can teach you a lot, and just an all around good guy. He's got your best interest in hand for sure. But yeah, I think I'm gonna call it there. It's been about almost 2 hours. I think we've covered pretty much everything. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ping me in Discord or ping one of the trading mentors, no problem. The link is below. And as always, like if you appreciated the content or want to show any support, please like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. Put a lot of time into charts and whatnot. I'm thinking about bringing other people other than just Agris on, but for sure like and subscribe. And with all that said, be patient.